All right, welcome to the Seekers Podcast. I'm your host, Wendell Hurricane Burrows, and we look like we got everybody that's supposed to be here. I'll just let everybody introduce yourself.
Okay.
We'll go with Dale, and then BC, and then Hardcore Braden, and Neil, and Barry. So we'll start off with you, Dale. Just introduce yourself.
Well, hi, I'm Dale Bullock. I got a place out east of Heber Springs, a couple miles, and got kind of involved in this a couple years ago, and I called Wendell for some help.
Yeah.
And been in it ever since. That's about all I know to say right now. So,
all right. Go ahead, BC.
I'm BC Davis. I'm located in White County, Arkansas. I got involved in this in 2018, and just out of something to do, really, just something that kind of just struck my interest after watching the Survivor Man episodes, and then I got into decided I'd start asking people if they'd ever seen anything weird, and things like that. I never said, "Did you see Bigfoot or this or that?" I just asked them if they'd ever seen anything weird, and I really wasn't expecting to get much, and then I just got flooded with stuff. Sightings, I mean, not just, a Bigfoot or so-called dog man, but, aliens, cloaked entities, and other stuff I can't even begin to describe.
Right.
So, plus in the area I live in, it is, I live in an active area, because I've heard yells and whoops and howls. House got slapped in 2018, but this is before I got into it. I didn't know what had happened, just out of the blue. And when I got into this, that's when I come across house slapping. I'm like, oh boy. So they're pretty close.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's in town. I live in city limits.
Yeah,
there's a lot of woods around me, but it's still city limits.
A lot of people don't think about it, but they come right up to the edge and right into cities a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hardcore, you want to introduce everybody over there? Neil?
Hey, guys. My name's Hardcore. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got myself, I got Braden, and I got River here. They are not on camera right now. They're checking some equipment that they brought back. I've been doing it for a couple years. I got nosy looking for that unicorn and still ain't found it yet. These other guys, we've had some experiences pretty close to where our farms are at. Some stuff we got recorded, some stuff we do not. Anything you guys want to say? Not yet. Okay.
All right. Barry, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Barry Robinson. I'm in Harrison County, Kentucky. I've had an interest in the subject ever since I was old enough to read or even look at pictures in books. Dad brought one home from the library about Bigfoot, and for some reason, it just clicked with me. Well, fast forward, being in and out of it, watching TV shows, reading books, all the way up through high school. About my late 20s, early 30s, coming home late from work one night, something ran across the 3-lane highway in front of me and another car about 2:30 in the morning. And then I really got into it. And then fast forward about 4 going on 5 years ago, I had my parcel sighting and all the activity around the house here, which ain't but about 7 miles from that side road crossing. And that's when I went from being a believer to a knower.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I guess I'll start with we'll go around the same way. If we've known any recent activity. I've had 2 reports, and one of them's from the WMA that's east of Dales. There, I can't think of the name of it, but anyway, it's about 12 miles from Dales area. They had a sighting. They was getting ready to do their bow season and putting up their stands and everything, and run into something that run. It was upright and run away from them. And they contacted me, wondered if it was a Bigfoot. And I said, well, you'll know it if it's a Bigfoot. I said, sounds like it was, but their deal was it was about their height, though, but real wide. And they said, no way it could have been a bear because it run over 100 yards on his back legs. And I said, well, I think he had a Bigfoot encounter. Then I had a report. We just had our big chuck wagon race here in Arkansas. It's here at Clinton out on the Oaf Ranch. Well, west of them, about 8 miles, this lady said where she was at that she had something that come up to the back of their house and looked in their windows and everything. It was during the same weekend as the chuck wagon race. I said, well, that not be unusual with all the drinking that's going on there. That's a little bit far up the creek from them. And she said, well, my window, I live on a hillside. My window's like right at 10 foot high. Whatever this is, looked right in my window. I said, well, I think he had a Bigfoot encounter, a big one at that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the two reports I've had lately. How about you, Dale?
I hadn't heard a whole lot. There was the guy that said he was talking to me up there gas station, talking about he'd seen one out, thought he saw something weird out in the woods out there when he was scouting, but as far as any actual, somebody said they've seen it running and all that stuff, but they just said they saw something that just didn't belong there. It just looked, it looked like they was watching them, but that's all I've heard. And that was east of me too. So that was pretty much all that's been going on around here.
Maybe
I haven't heard any. There hadn't been any activity here as far as the whoops of the tree knocks or anything that I've heard. Or usually when Big Red's around, you can smell him.
Yeah.
And I haven't scented him one time in the last 2 or 3 months. So it's. I don't know. He's probably migrating around like he tends to do. He's probably down your way somewhere.
Yeah. Normally this time of year, the activity would pick up around Mortar Creek over there. But since they built that big new $300,000 or $400,000 home on top of the Buffalo Hump there, I hadn't even been over there because they got people that. Workers that come around asking what you're doing and doing all this stuff, so I just avoid that place. But he may be over there. All right, BC, you had any recent activity or anything?
Well, the only thing is that that second cousin of mine that lives, I'm guessing about 3 miles approximately northeast of me. She's still hearing whoops and wood knocks and all that, and uses her and a small daughter at home during the day. And she had seen the cloaked entity back around 2002, 2004, something like that. So she didn't know that they actually whooped and could make other animal noises until I told her, and then she was just telling me all the stuff she'd heard. And out, just out of the corner of her eye, she'll see something just flash, and she'll look. Nothing's there. But she won't let her daughter go outside. Her daughter's 6, I think now, 5 or 6, 4, 5, 6, something like that. And no,
don't do that. They're attracted to them.
Yeah, she knows that. I've told her. So still got that, but down around Hurricane Lake, nothing. I think it's just they're all hanging close to the water because it's so dry right now. And plus, they've cut down some pine trees there that they planted, I don't know, probably about 30, 35 years ago. They've been cutting out swaths of those. So it might have taken some of their habitat close to that house. So that could be another reason.
Now,
I've been wondering about those big woods up there around Hurricane Refuge. Those are some unique looking woods. I love it up in there.
Yeah,
It
it's been
is.
several years since I've been up there. I mean, I went a little bit when I went down and visited BC and them. Went out there, but just driving around, I hadn't actually got into the woods in years there. So
They used to have a big bow tournament every other weekend. There was the National Bow Association and a World Bow Association would each have a competition, every other weekend. And I used to go up there all the time for them things. Man, that's fun. But those woods are just amazing.
now, November 6th, we're going to go down there, and anybody that's in our little group here that knows about it, we're going to go down there and visit BC and Robert Taylor in their area there, and do some scouting for a future, maybe a spring investigation there. And then in December 9th, 10th, and 11th, we're going to be over around OARC at Hardcore area here, Neil's area, and do a full-scale investigation over there for our fall investigation. All right, we lost BC somehow.
There he's back.
There he's back.
I have no idea what happened. I was here, then I wasn't.
I don't know. It said you logged out. And
Well, that's
I don't-
weird.
all right, now we're down to Hardcore and see if he's had any new activity around your area, Hardcore.
Area 2 has had quite a bit of log work done in it.
Right.
I put a recorder out there, got a little bit on the recorder. Window, it's something that definitely you need to listen to. You'll understand when you listen to it. It's weird.
Yeah.
Later that day or a day or two after that, me, River, and Braden went up into Area 4, pretty far up into the mountain, and got snooping around a bluff line that we probably had no business snooping around. And across the dirt road down into a holler, there was a bunch of trees being snapped and thrown around. So I took that as a sign for us to go ahead and get out of there. And I left a recorder as we were leaving. Didn't get nothing on it, of course, but it was kind of an interesting situation. I was telling these guys, don't run. Just whatever you do, don't run.
No.
It was close to us. It was within probably 75 yards of us, at least, maybe a little bit close. It was pretty intimidating, I ain't gonna lie, especially having two other people with me. So,
Right.
I'd like to get an investigation back up in that last place that me and you and Clint went up in our window.
Yeah, that's part of the. I call that the Castle Rock area.
Yeah.
It's where Neil was at the vehicle, watching the vehicle, and
Mhm.
me and you and Clint went on over that other hillside over. That's where we heard the whirl, whoop, scream, whirl sound. I don't know. I never.
Yeah, that's odd. I've never heard anything like that in my life.
After we come back and I looked around on the internet, they out of the Catskills Mountains, there was one that sounded identical to that. And I
Really?
think you sent me one, Dale, where they also, I don't know where that one was from, but that's the weirdest sound I ever heard one make.
yeah, it sounded like kind of like a motor gearing up or something.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Mhm.
All right.
We heard a sound similar to that when we were up there at camp. That was
Yeah.
south of us.
That's what I was going to say. It was total different direction, though.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
that was odd.
It was kind of weird.
yep. All right, Barry, what's been going on around your area?
Well, for the longest time, we was in a dead period, but I think with the cool weather's rolling in, it seems like it might be picking up a little bit. I told you I've been talking to one witness out of another state had a roadside crossing some years back. I was supposed to get the details sometime or another. As far as personally, like I said, this last week or so, it's cooled down. And the funny thing is, me and Mom were talking, and I noticed the batteries died in my trail cam, which I'd had them out there for 9 months or better. So them batteries can rest in peace. They did their job.
Right.
Yeah. But for about a week or so now that I don't have any battery cameras or audio recorders out, we are noticing more. We've had 2 nights where about 11:30 or 12, the dogs went nuts.
Right.
And Bo Stevens is inside the house here, and where he sleeps at the living room window where the air conditioner's at right next to it. Both times he was keying on that window like he saw something out it or something saw him in it.
Right.
Well, that window's about 7.5, 8 foot off the ground. I mean, and that's just to be able to see over the air conditioning. And last night, right before they started raising Cain, I've got a big piece of tin laying down in the field behind the house. I put it up there for this exact reason. I heard something hit that tin, something heavy.
Wow.
And I put that there for that exact reason. If they're not smart enough to step over it, it makes a great early warning system.
Yeah.
And then this afternoon, I was mowing the yard, and I know everybody's going to say, well, oh, sure, the afternoon you do a podcast, something happens. Well, it took me about 2.5 hours to mow the yard. Nothing, hadn't heard any knocks or anything for probably a week or better. As soon as I shut the mower off and climb down, get up on the deck and sit down, my tail end no sooner hits a seat on the deck chair, I hear 4 distinct right over behind the barn, back out down over in the holler, right close to the last area I mowed. I just sat there and I was like, really? I mean, and this is broad daylight.
They letting you know they're still there.
What's that?
I said they letting you know they're still there.
Well, I mean, I always say I don't want to be the guy that sees Bigfoot behind every bush. But the fact, as soon as I shut the mower off and sat down, to hear 4 knocks right where I was just at mowing. I mean, there's coincidence and then there's coincidence.
Yep.
Well, you know what I've noticed?
Saying he's done that.
Yeah. Well, what I've noticed here this summer so far, you can go out there and you can go out there and mow, go out there and weed eat. Go out there 2 days later, and there's big rocks everywhere. Now, those weren't there when I mowed before. I know they weren't because I'd have tore the blade up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They just throwing them back at you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's kind of odd, because here last month or so, the whole mountainside has been covered with wild strawberries and blackberry plants. Blackberry bush. And I think, man, if that don't draw them in, nothing will.
Right.
It draw me in.
Yeah.
Me too. Got a question here. Oh, we lost Barry again.
Hey, BC, you still there?
I'm here.
I'd like to hear some more about these wall slammers, or whatever you call them there.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Huh?
Could you repeat that? The wall what?
Where you were you said something about like wall hitters or wall slammers.
House getting slapped, yeah.
Yeah, half slap.
Well, I'll tell you, I was just in the living room, just sitting there, and I had everything unplugged because it was a really nasty lightning storm, probably the worst I've ever seen in Arkansas in my life. And, just going along, I'm on the phone doing whatever, and all of a sudden, just bam, just one big, heavy, impact or whatever. The first thing I thought was, well, a tree has fell over because it had been storming. But then I was got thinking, I don't have any trees that big enough to do that. And I thought, well, maybe a limb. Well, the front passed it, and it got past here a little way. So I ran out real quick to see what had happened, and I didn't see anything. I mean, nothing. Everything looked fine. And I thought, well, it's probably behind the house. Well, the street light and where my house at, the back of the house is pitch black on it. I've now got a motion sensor light out there, but didn't then. And I started going around there, and something said, don't do that. So I just went on back in, and I went out the next day. Nothing. Everything was exactly where it should have been. And I mentioned this one guy, and he said, well, could have been a bird. I said, well, maybe, but that would have had been a pretty good sized bird going at a pretty good clip. So there would have been at least, some feathers or blood. And nothing, absolutely nothing.
We've had some activity like that around here. It's just amazing.
Well, and later on, a few months, might have been the following spring, I had some drumsticks, and they got dirty. One of my cats just got it back there and just sprayed them for some dang reason. But anyway, I washed them off and had them outside drying on a chair. And the next morning, there were 3 X's made out of those drumsticks right outside my door. Yeah, and that happened.
Oh.
I think the second time there was only 1 X, but there were 3 X's the first time. Now, okay, cat, possum, whatever, got up on the chair and knocked them off, and they all just happened to fall that way. Well, maybe, but 3 X's, man, I'm just like, not definitive proof, but boy, it sure makes you go,
Yeah, kind of sending a signal.
Yeah, I don't really know what those meant, but
remember Wendell here a while back where I went outside and all those shovels and rakes and everything was all hooked together and holding each other up and everything.
Yeah,
remember that?
I remember that. Yeah,
that was weird. I think now that just couldn't just happen. But there was like shovels laying over this way, and there'd be something under it holding it, and there was something else. I said, now if all them things would have just fell down, they'd have been all over the walkway. But no, they're all hooked together, and it just doesn't happen naturally. It can't.
you're right.
But then we had that time there where one morning got up and there was deer hair all over the deck and all over the walkway and all over the ground out in front of the shop, and I was like, man, what the heck is going on?
I got the one question I got from a viewer, and it says, how far is the areas that y'all investigate from where you live, and have you ever had anyone one of these creatures follow you home or track you down?
Yeah.
Who wants to answer that first?
I can tell you Big Red lives real close to me.
Yeah,
a lot of time, and he's just I don't like to go outside at night without a big spotlight and a pistol on my hip. That's just no way. So yeah, they're pretty close.
Yeah, Dale was probably the closest one out of us that I know. Barry's close. They're right off the holler from him.
They either live in my yard or I live in
What was that?
Your internet's breaking up, Barry. Yeah, he's having. They don't.
Froze. Oh, there he is.
You hear me?
Now we can.
I'm
Yes.
not sure if they live in my yard or I live in their yard.
Oh, I still can't hear you, Barry.
Mm-mm.
Now, Hardcore here, he's not too far from the area. I'm sure they've been up to Hardcore's house or close to it.
I think a couple times, maybe. If they ever quit messing with the campers and people's lots. I mean, just saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'd say probably my family's farm is probably it's less than 5 miles. Very easily
yeah,
less than 5 miles. It's in an area that they're definitely going to be close to.
Yeah, I was listening to BC a while ago talking about the granddaughter. You know, I mean, that's some scary stuff because I know once our grandson Hudson one day when he was about 4, he comes running in the front door, Papa, Papa, Papa. I was like, what's wrong? He said, there's a big old hairy man shaking a tree at me out there. I'm like, oh man,
man.
you know, it's that gives you chills, you know, to know that something's watching your grandchildren, you know,
Yeah,
and
imagine.
they're so fast, you know, that they could do anything they wanted to do.
Yeah, they're unbelievably fast. People don't realize that.
Do y'all think they travel more through the trees tops or on ground? I've always wondered that myself. But what are y'all's thoughts on that?
After going up to your place up there, I can say they can definitely get in the treetops. That scared the heck out of me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Man, that
yeah.
was amazing. I didn't know an oak tree that big could shake when something jumped out of it. Gosh,
I don't
dog.
know. They're making that popping noise and that creaking noise. I can't get that out
That
of my.
whole dang tree. I mean, that was a
No,
big oak tree.
I don't know. It was
Jiminy
weird.
Christmas.
It was intimidating, wasn't it? Makes you
yeah.
stop and think. That
And that's the only area, and I'm sure they can, but I haven't seen them or done anything around here. There, I've always been on foot, moving. But I think it was uh, just coincidences when I'd see them around here, and that up there, there's a whole group. So I think
yeah,
their conditioning is a little different from what they're used to doing. And
They have a village. It's not a group.
yeah, yeah,
Man, that's amazing. That place make a believer out of you.
yeah, it will. Quick.
Barry's back.
Is he?
Well, he popped up there.
He popped up, but I don't see him saying nothing. Uh, yeah, it's you know, you know, I had, I mean, my grandson, he come in and told me that. And I had never said nothing about no Bigfoot or Big Red or anything, you know. Never told him anything like that. They don't want to scare him, you know. And then when he comes in and says there's a big hairy man shaking a tree at him, I'm like, oh goodness sakes, you know, he's right in the middle of it now. But you know, had one night there, you know, where you know, I usually when I go out to truck at night, a lot of times, or go outside at night with the dogs or whatever, I'll have a pistol on my hip or have it just stuck down in my pocket or something, you know. And one night I was just like, well, I need to get something out of the truck. And so I just say, well, the truck's parked close. So I'll just walk out there and get it out of the truck seat, and it reminded me of, you know, they talk about Indians counting coup, you know, where they would go up and touch their enemy, you know.
Hmm.
And I opened up the truck door, and of course I'm standing there in the dome light. I'm just standing there on the ground. I reached in there on a seat to get whatever it was. I can't remember what it was I went out there to get now, but I reached in a seat and I heard this right in my ear, and I feel the wind from this thing coming by me, and I'm like, "Oh boy, he had me if he wanted me." You know, it's just, you know, it's so fast, and that right there will send chills up your spine. Let me tell you.
Yeah, definitely. If we had one that close, it would.
Kind of like they just letting you know, hey, I got you anytime I want you. You know.
Yeah, that's how fast they are. My
Mhm.
friend that passed away, Tony Maddox, uh, he had one that was uh, he had an encounter in the woods where he made it back to his truck, jumped in his truck, and this thing run along the fence beside him and hit the side of his truck, knocked it sideways. And he said he was going 40 mile an hour by the time it hit the side of his truck, but he was able to keep on going. That's fast, 40 mile an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't be outrunning any, that's for sure.
No.
Ugh.
No, that's what always kind of tickles me, you know, when people say, "Well, I just up and shoot them." I think, well, you've been probably practicing at the range from 25 feet, like most people do, and these things go like 55 feet per second. When they're running, and
Ugh.
at 25 feet, you know, you ain't even going to get your gun out.
No.
That thing is going to be on you. You know, you can't unless there's 4 or 5 guys there shooting at the same time. You know, to keep them off of you, they're going to get you. You know, it's
Yeah.
not possible to single person take them on like that. Not happening.
I just got a message from Thomas that he's having some technical difficulties, but he's trying to get logged on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, question for Hardcore. Do you have reports of any other cryptids besides Bigfoot in your area?
On the internet, I found something on YouTube a few years back. There's been reports in the Franklin County area of something that they just couldn't identify, and it actually has charged at somebody getting back in their truck. You know, this is back in the 80s. I do know this. I do know this family, and they really are shying away from discussing this, and I don't blame them. They do live out in the middle of nowhere, pretty close to Area 1. But they really wouldn't go into detail with me, and I've known these people all my life, and to this day, they really won't tell me much about it. I don't know if they told their story to somebody else and somebody had got online and talked about it or what. I'll look for that video and I'll post that in our private group that we have, so where you guys can kind of get an idea of the story more in depth on that. As far as I know, there's always been weird stuff here in this area, to be honest with you. I mean, they've you just don't know what's true and what's not, but
It's true.
you hear some weird stuff out here that just you can't explain. And like you're talking about the tin metal being hit, me and Wendell's heard that before in Area 2. You know, first time you ever come down, if I remember right, we heard that pretty deep in the woods. That was weird.
Yeah. We finally figured out where it was coming from. It was old hull of a washer or dryer.
Washing machine by the entrance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Weird.
Huh.
And that recording I was telling you about, that's pretty close to where that washing machine was at. So once you go in there, it don't look the same. It looks totally different. We can use it to our advantage. We could definitely use it to our advantage, but it's just sad to see that, you know, it got tore up the way it did. And I mean, it's going to look good in the future, I'm hoping. But you know, just knowing that someone's been in there, it's kind of disturbing. But at the same time, you know, let's make some lemonade out of lemon drop.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen it yet, but the way y'all was talking, it didn't get all the way. It didn't go all the way back to where the pond is and where Castle Rock and all
That's
that
true.
is.
That's true. No, it didn't go that far. It never even made it to camp.
Oh yeah.
You know the creek. You know how we cross a couple of creeks.
Yeah.
The last creek is where pretty much, or almost the last creek is where they stopped doing the work at.
All right. So it's just getting into the good area
Yes.
that what I would think would be good. But yeah,
Yeah, where we all walked into the woods at one time, and
Yeah.
that's pretty close to the area that it's definitely in that area is where it's stopping at. I don't know how much farther they're going to go back in there. I don't know why they stopped. I mean, I'm just wondering if they ran into a situation in there like what happened up on area
Yeah.
3 or 4 with the loggers up there I talked to. I mean,
they might have to find a different group of loggers to log the rest for a little ways, and then a different group, and then
they're running
another
out of
different
loggers, man. They're running out of.
Yeah. Once they see them, it'll be hard to get somebody, pay somebody to get
Uh-oh.
back up in there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that you know, that little video you did when you got separated from us, Wendell, you know, in that video you can hear that
Oh, yeah.
locator call and stuff up, but you can hear it. And you
Yeah.
can hear it in Wendell's voice too. Wendell's like, I gotta find the guys, you know.
Yeah, I was.
Man,
and it was.
that place
It
is
was.
hot
It
now.
seemed closer than what it was on the recording. You can just hear it, but it sounds like it's a long way away. There, it sounded like something. I'm out of here.
Well, you know that call we heard that was so weird. I kind of heard 2 of them. One behind us where we just came from, and that one sounded like it was just right over the top of the hill from us. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like, man, that
That's
place
what I
is
wanna
smoking hot.
Get back and the December deal is get up there and investigate them rocks there where we heard that sound from, and
Yeah.
you can look right through it, so out the other side. So
Yeah.
that'll
I'll
be
tell you what.
interesting.
Anybody that doesn't believe, can he go up there north of Mountain View or up at Neal's, and they'll come away with a whole different outlook.
Sure
Yeah.
There's no
will.
doubt about it.
It'll make you question. If it'll make you a believer, it'll make you question some things. I mean, it will.
Man, I tell you. Well, you know, I got that real good recording last time up there, you know, north of Mountain View, and I was like, oh my gosh, that thing was standing right in the camp with us. You know, man.
Well, any one of y'all got a question that you'd like to ask the other guests here?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, Barry, you coming to the December investigation?
I kind of doubt it. I'm kind of stuck where I'm at in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. We'll get you some pictures and videos sent to you for sure, man.
I'd like to get Robert and BC up in those 2 areas.
Yeah.
Get 'em there. Get everybody in here. More food on the ground, the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot of area to cover. We got a lot of miles, a lot of areas that's separated, and the more feet we have on the ground, the better. I mean, it got to be in shape. Don't come in there like, you know, thinking that exactly. Come in there thinking that, you know, you're not going to break a sweat, because if you're going to get out there and walk in these woods, it's steep. It is dangerous. You got to use your head. If you don't have the experience and the knowledge, you may want to second think going deep in the woods, because if you got to run, you're running uphill.
I lost 45 pounds since I was up at your place. I am ready, buddy.
I'll tell you right now, since my heart attack, I've lost 70 pounds. I weighed myself this morning. Yeah.
Sweet. You can tell it by looking at you, man. You look a lot different.
Thank you, guys. Thank y'all. I feel better. I don't smoke cigarettes some more. That made a big difference in things. And you know, I've been exercising every night. It's been a long journey, but I'll be all right. I got this. Ain't nothing I can't handle, right?
Awesome.
I appreciate the prayer you guys been doing for me too. I know y'all been praying. Thank y'all. Every one of y'all.
I got a question.
All right.
Recently, I was reading a book about a habituation situation, and the family hypothesized, as far as cameras and trail cams, any kind of electronics really, that these creatures may either generate a bioelectric or static electric field or charge strong enough to interfere with them.
I don't know.
And I stopped and
I've
thought
heard of
about
that.
it.
I've heard of
What's
that.
that?
I've heard of the only animal that I know that does that is electric eels. So there is prominence in the field that an animal does that, and that's electric eel. So I
That
don't
was
know.
the first thing that popped in my head, electric eel.
I do know that whenever I had my encounter up in area 3, area 3, when I was recording it, towards the end of my recording, I didn't turn off the camera. It kind of did on its own, but it started flickering right before it just went dead. And I had to turn it back on as I was coming down the mountain to record a second recording. So I've always, what you're talking about, it's kind of always been in the back of my head on that. I don't know if that's a infrasound situation or what, but I know that a lot of people complain about the fuzzy pictures. I don't know if that has something to do with it. I mean, it's just something I wish I had an answer for it. Unfortunately, I don't.
I think the fuzzy pictures is just due to the speed alone. It's something.
I don't know. I've got one a couple years back that I think they're sitting still, and I can see head and shoulders clear as day on both of them, but it just has a weird fuzzy look to it. It looks weird. It don't look.
But you get all these trail cam pictures, that people always post. Like this is Bigfoot, but why are they fuzzy? Well, you think about it. I mean, what's the trigger speed on some of the best cameras you got? 1 second.
Yeah.
Now you think about, okay, the field of vision is maybe 75 feet out in front of you from side to side, if it, for a long range shot. Now, if this thing's going 55 feet per second, as soon as it triggers that camera, it's almost out of range. And if you do get it, it's going to be fuzzy because he's traveling, 45, 50 mile an hour coming through there. So, it's just, I think a lot of that, it's like my neighbor. He had just bukus of chickens disappearing. And I mean, these were expensive fighting roosters, and he put up some of the best trail cameras. He put them all over down there. He said, there is something big moving on your mountain. And I said, boy, you ain't telling me nothing I don't know. And so he says, I'm going to find out what's killing all my chickens or taking all my chickens. So he put trail cameras up all over out in back of his house. And he said, all I got on all those cameras was a big red blur on every one of them. He said, that's what the pictures are taking, big red blurs. And I said, well, that kind of makes sense, actually, because since I know kind of what's taking your chickens, without having to have a camera on him. But anyway, that kind of made me think about that. And I said, no, it's not the speed. It's not I don't think it's the, some kind of force field around them or whatever on a lot of them. I think it's just purely speed and camera reaction to a lot of them. But
I have a theory on it, and I'll go ahead and tell y'all right now. And some people may say I'm crazy at it, but have you ever seen a cat when it fluffs its fur up? You know how they arch their back and their fur puffs all out? I think, and I believe, and I've had research, but I don't want to let it out yet from old writings and history, ancient history. But I think they can move their fur just like that, puff it up, and it's actually moving. Just like my hand. You see my hand? Mm-hmm. If their fur is doing this, that is the best camouflage ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a friend of mine's ghillie suit is what made me think of it. He was standing there and it was blowing in the wind, and it kind of looked the same thing. This was about 4 years ago. I started thinking about this, and I'm like, now what else does that? Cats definitely can puff their fur up, and if you can move it, that's the best camouflage in the world because it blends in then. And I believe that is why the cameras are blurry. But That's most my theory in a I don't know how I'll prove it until we catch one, but we'll see.
Well, back to the speed issue again. I mean, there for a while, I was like, "What's killing all my chickens?" And I said, "Well, whatever it is, evidently loves chickens." So I had a big fort I built for the kids, so I put the camera way up high, and I pointed it at a big tree stump up there on the side of the hill. Pointed it right at that tree stump, and the camera's about 12 foot in the air, pointed right down at that tree stump. Well, I go up there and put a whole chicken on this tree stump. I said, okay, now something come take this chicken because I'm going to find out what it is. It had a picture of me putting the chicken there, and then it had a picture of the tree trunk with no chicken. And that was all. And then it had another picture of me going to check to see what's going on, but it was kind of unusual. So,
Right.
What kind of time was between the pictures?
it was just like, I mean, that was the only pictures there. That was what was really strange because it was like me putting a chicken, there's a chicken, no chicken, me back to check the chicken. It was just, man, it was crazy.
Well, me and Wendell's talked about, you get a trail cam out for a couple of weeks, you come back and it's got 300 pictures of it, and it never fails. There's a few of them you can't for the life of you see what made that camera go off. There's nothing moving.
Mm-hmm.
And we've said, and Wendell's probably right, if they're throwing small pebbles or dirt clods or whatever from the far limit of the camera to set it off, well, with a second camera speed like we was talking about, you wouldn't see anything. Because a pebble or whatever is going to fly past the camera and set it off, but you're not going to catch it.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm still wanting to try, and I was going to the last time, and I didn't have all my cameras. But I got 2 cameras, but I want to get another one. I want a camera facing, and then a camera looking at that camera, and then one further back looking at it.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and I would have to adjust the speeds, but I think that'll give us more reaction time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're just a few inches off from each other as they're spaced back, so you would get one of them would get the picture as it moved. Is my theory.
Yeah. Well, I got that new camera I got is about that big a square.
Right.
And I mean, it's little. It's like 2 inches by 2 inches by a ½ inch thick.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to rig up a hollow log, just a piece of firewood, and I'm gonna split it down the middle and hinge it from the inside so the hinge not showing.
Right.
Hollow that out for that camera on the end of that thing, so I can put the camera in. I can close that piece of wood down, and it'll have just a small hole out the end for that camera to look out.
Good camouflage.
Maybe that'll have some, results somewhere or another.
Right.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, because y'all know me, I'm a solo act, so I depend on cameras. They can be where I can't all the time. And I've tried everything we've mentioned so far, still shot, video shots. With the 2 camera things, Wendell, the only thing I got interested in a night video, there is a doe that runs past the first camera, and you can tell this doe's running for her life, looking over her shoulder. She runs right past whatever, both cameras looking behind her, and whatever's chasing her never passes the first camera.
Wow.
It's like it stopped when it saw the cameras, just short of the range of either one of them.
That's why I want to put it in a piece of wood, lay it on the ground.
You was talking about the hollowed out stump. I've tried that. I tried a rock stack one time. I made a rock stack, put the camera in the middle of it. I come back, something had pushed one of the rocks from behind over the lens of the camera. So all I'm looking at is the backside of a rock. And I'm just like, these things are making monkeys out of me.
Yeah, they're notorious at doing that. I mean,
the only.
Oh, we lost Barry. Anyway, I was gonna say I got something for Hardcore and BC to do for our next investigations.
Yeah.
See if you find anybody in your area that would be willing to go on camera and talk about it or anything.
Okay, I'll do that.
Probably
I think I can do that.
Shot in the dark, but I'd like to get some more live testimony if you can, because I can't find nobody around here. I've asked. Everybody wants to tell me about it, but nobody wants to be on camera at all.
All right, I'll ask around.
Well, that's it. I was going to say the only solution I can come up with is the entire time I'm out there setting up these elaborate schemes with my cameras, they're sitting back somewhere watching me. Like, what is he doing now?
Yeah, we could be their entertainment a lot of times. They're just sitting there wondering what's going on here.
Here he comes.
I did try to do an experiment a few weeks ago with a glow stick, and I put it inside 2 empty gallon jugs and taped it together and threw it out there in a certain area in area 2 to see if I get this thing to interact with it. And I was so aggravated because I used my phone, and when I put the phone against a tree, I guess a piece of moss on the tree had touched that screen and flipped it around to record the tree. So I got nothing out of it, and I was so excited and got back, recorded it. And on top of that, it only recorded for 30 seconds. So I got to learn how to use a new phone. So
there you go.
Yeah, I got to learn to do that all over again. Do what?
All right.
Now, when would you want to do these on-camera interviews? Is that when you're planning on coming down in November?
Yeah, November 6th.
Okay.
And Hardcores would be either probably the 10th on that Saturday, because we'll be there Friday, but we'll be setting up camp, coming in, and everything. But
yeah, let me talk to someone I know that has had an encounter. See if I can get her to go on camera. I think maybe she will. Her ex-brother-in-law had an encounter right north of where we go to a lot.
Right.
And he got shy, so I could probably get her on camera. I'll talk to her soon.
That'd be awesome.
Sure.
I think it'd be a good fall season here for us, and we'll have a lot of activity. This weather's cooling off, like Barry said, it's already cool out there, but this week it's supposed to be cool, and I don't think after this coming week, we'll have any temperatures back up in the 90s. So I think it'll start to have a lot more activity around.
Yeah.
We could get our first frost later this week.
Oh, wow.
It's supposed to be down right around 40 at night a couple nights.
That'd be a good time to go up there and put a recorder on my phone. 4 minutes. Is it a full moon this weekend?
Window.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything more from that area that's kind of about southeast of Quitman? Remember here last year, that power crew was up there cutting that big clearance line through the woods and everything, and they had like 4 or 5 sightings during the day of them things crossing that.
Yeah. I hadn't heard anything else from there, but that was down by Enola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I went up there to talk about to buy a welder from an old boy that was up there, young man, And he told me, he said, yeah, he said that power crew's just right up the road from me was telling me about it. Said they seen that sucker run across right there by the machines 4 or 5 times during the middle of the day. I'm like, golly, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
I just wondered if
I
there
had
had been
this.
anything else back there.
I hadn't had any more reports there, but everybody that I got the reports from somebody else, but uh, all the reports that he had got, it was from people that was either working in the area and doing stuff, but he couldn't get nothing from anybody that lived there. You said you was there with whoever you bought the welder from that confirmed them reports too. So they must have lived right in the area there.
Yeah, that guy lived about a quarter mile up the road to the south of that place where that was happening.
Mm.
And he said, "Yeah." I said, "It's just right up the road." And I said, "You mean that crew that's working right?" He goes, "Yep, that one that's working right down there." Like, man, that's close. I'm just wondering if maybe I could make a trip up in there again and maybe talk to this old boy and see if he's heard anything else or seen anything himself.
Yeah, if you do, let me know. I'll go with you, and we can
Okay.
work out a
All right.
time.
Yep.
Cause I know the general location of where he told me, and the activity there that he was having along that power line. So, and you know where that guy is, so we can work around in that area and just see
Yeah.
what we can come up with. Hey, Thomas is finally here.
There he is.
About ready to pull my hair out.
I know how you feel.
Uh,
I
and
think
that's
somebody's
not for
been pulling
mishaps
mine
on
out.
electronics.
Yeah, we finally got the whole crew here. Not long till we end the broadcast, but we're all. You got any new activity here since you're here, Thomas? What anything you want to talk about?
No, nothing really came on, but from Robert down at over by Dover. Didn't make it over there. His truck broke down, and his mom ended up in the hospital. So I don't know when we're going to make it over there.
Right, he's supposed to make it out to the December event. Him and maybe a guy named Joe Johnson may make it up to the December event.
Well, Darren and I were talking about probably like Thursday going over there by Area 2, bow hunting.
Oh,
See
yeah.
if we see anything.
Well, I bet you will.
Yeah. There's been a lot of deer hanging around that part. Is that right, Braden? You've been up there more than I have the last couple of days. They still, yeah, there too. Yeah, I guess it may be a pretty good hunt for you, according to Braden. He said they're hanging around still. So,
Yeah, break out that crossbow I got last year, see if it's any good.
there you go.
There you go.
Okay, I'm wearing glasses, guys. Don't get used to it.
You need one of them little red hats with a little ball on the end of it.
Yeah,
I froze.
starting to look like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So you're who I'm
Oh,
saying
yeah.
my list for sure.
Well, as like a while ago, my oldest grandson's birthday, his half sisters, twins, they're just about 3 years old. They just kept on sitting at the table looking at me. So one of the great grandparents, well, one of the boys, a great grandparent, saw it all and said, "Yeah, you better be good. That's Santa Claus's helper down there." All the one sitting across the table, all she heard was Santa Claus. She She's up right there and behaved.
Right.
Just in case, I want a new crossbow. I've been a good boy.
You'd love mine. You'd love that crossbow of mine. It's a 180-pound pull. I have to custom order the bolts for it.
Uh,
Yeah, it's made by Bear.
you still,
I never asked.
I got to come out of the dark ages. I'm still shooting a longbow.
That's what I use.
I got an old
I can shoot one of those.
compound crossbow. It's a Foxfire. It's a 160-pound pull.
Mm-hmm. Those are good little tools, though. I used to shoot one of them every once in a while.
Yeah, I looked for one of those 160-pound pulls, and I couldn't find one. All I could find is up to 140 pounds. Yeah, I like a little bit of oomph behind it than 140 pounds.
Right.
So
I just thought I'd let him know he ain't the
when you
only
buy a
one.
Bear crossbow at 180 pounds, that thing has Christian crosses all over it. You know, it has to be a good crossbow.
Yep. What'd you say, Barry?
I was just letting Thomas know he ain't the only one that has to have glasses.
Oh,
Oh, I got up this morning and went down working on the house till about 3 o'clock today. Yeah, and everything started getting blurry up close, so I had to start wearing my glasses.
Oh, there's my Squatch dog. Coming
Yeah.
to see me.
you gonna bring it to investigation?
I think I might do it. He's getting to be pretty big old boy, and he ain't afraid of guns or nothing. So
Awesome.
This one Ranger done it.
Especially if we go back
Yeah.
to Sillamore
yeah.
in the spring.
There you go.
Mhm.
Thomas, you still gonna make it out to BC's and Roberts event, ain't you? November 6th.
Yeah, I was asked about that. So Anthony accidentally put it on the wrong date, I think. I think he put it for October.
Oh, no, it's November
Yeah.
6th.
Where's that going to be at?
Well, we're gonna let them host it. I'm not exactly sure. I'm just gonna show up where they tell me to be at, and then we'll go to there. It's somewhere. Fill us in, BC, over by Ball Knob.
Oh, that's over there on where the little red runs into the white, I bet you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was hoping to make it over there when I was over there with my nephew, but it ended up raining and there wasn't no way you were going to get in those woods. Slip and slide.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe we lost BC. You still there, BC? BC?
Good
There you
listen.
go.
I guess we lost him.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
that'd be a good place. Over there where BC's at, I know exactly where he's talking about. That was a good catfishing hole when I lived over there at Searcy. So
Mhm.
if you got some shallow draft boat, you can put in there and just run up the Red River for a little bit. But as far as getting out on the white with the shallow draft, I wouldn't.
Right? I wouldn't either.
I was gonna tell Dale, be careful with your dog. I always heard they don't like dogs. And if the way Bo Stevens and Bobo act up when I believe they come around here, dogs don't like them either.
Mm. No, Colt gets pretty crazy at night a lot of times. He'll try to go up that mountainside, and then he's big enough he can handle himself pretty good now.
And Bo Stevens, the bloodhound, of course, I got a bloodhound. I thought, oh boy, I've got him now. You know, you can run, but you can't hide from a bloodhound.
No, they'll find you.
Yeah, but Bo Stevenson, he don't act like he wants to track that smell. Now he'll get aggressive, but he
Yeah,
won't follow it.
This one, he's about 3 or 4 inches taller than Sabo, so he's getting to be a pretty good sized dog.
Bo Stevens is about
That's like
130 pounds.
big old boy.
I don't think he backed down from one. That's one reason I keep him inside, because he's a little bit too big for his britches. But
That's how you like that 1-year-old black and tan of mine. He's too dumb for his own good. You'll go outside and boy, he'll hear. I know mine's back. I've heard them down in the trees, but chicken houses next door, they got some chicks a few weeks ago, so that's why they're back. But he'll go out there. He's big and brave, bay and everything else, but you can yell boo, scare him. He'll run in the house to mama.
well, that's why I quit taking him with me. He ain't got no backup in him, and like I've said before, I believe in live and let live. But if they bother my dog, and I put this out there, I said it out loud in the woods one day. I was like, "You bother mom or my dog, so help me, I will put your head on a fence post down here somewhere to warn the next one that comes along. I will put you in the ground."
There you are, baby. Come up here.
I got a little 5-pounder thinks she's about 4 feet tall and won't back down.
Yeah. Like I said, he's my baby. If somebody anything or anybody bothers him, ain't but one of us coming out of them woods.
Right. I don't blame him.
Well, I don't know about them other dogs, but I was sure glad I had Sable with me up there at Fillmore.
Yeah. She just wasn't the same afterwards though. That next morning,
she's still not. She really not.
She was
She kind of
definitely
shied
spooked.
away from what. She was spooked big time. She must have shook for 4 days after she came home.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really blame her. I did too.
I did too. The next morning after you told me that, then we looked around and seen the handprint on my van window. I was asleep right below that handprint.
Yeah, some things was close.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Thomas and I sat there and listened to them things all around us that night and heard some coyotes getting a dog kicked out of them, you know, and I was like, man, them's coyotes dying. Those aren't coyotes.
Yeah.
I heard that
Well,
one
look
night.
what happened to us. Look what happened to us every time we touched door handles or trucks. Ended up rock knocks and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
BC message, he got disconnected and his internet's not working right. I
I
had
tell you
that
what,
problem
everybody's there.
last night. Ours just went off for no reason. I don't know.
Ours did that Wednesday morning, didn't come back on until Thursday afternoon.
Same thing over this side of the river too. We've been having a lot of problems.
Aren't you Wave over there?
Sir?
Aren't you on Wave over in that area?
I'm not. I'm on CenturyTel. Everybody else has switched over to Wave, and I'm seriously thinking about it. I think it'd be cheaper if I did.
We're on CenturyTel over here too.
Yeah.
And a bunch of us put in to go over on Wave.
Yeah. It's,
Sort of they don't have their lines over here.
yeah.
I'm on Indico now, and I'm just tickled to death with it.
Do you like it?
Oh, man. You know, they advertise 25 megabytes per second,
Yeah.
and you can do a internet speed test on it. And there can be TVs streaming, whatever, and I can get on the internet, get on Facebook, and I can do a speed test, and it'll run like 24.8. So it's pretty dependable.
That's good.
Yeah, that's actually really good. It's better than what I got.
Yeah, y'all got it made up here. You can send up smoke signals quicker than the internet.
Well, the good thing about it, I got away from that darn satellite stuff. That cable, that internet I was on, I tell you what, that's the biggest lie I've ever heard them tell on TV. They talk
in December, are we camping down that area too, since it's all cleaned up down there, or are we camping up at your place, or what you got planned?
I would probably say area 2. I wouldn't do my place because of the stuff that happened a while back.
Right.
The family things, it just isn't safe. I don't think it's safe anyway. I'm gonna start looking around to see if I can. About these cabins. If there's some cabins up there, we could put a lot of people in these cabins and maybe see how much it would cost. It'd be maybe cheaper to do that than to rent campgrounds if they're going to do that. So I'm going to go up there and talk to. Someone said there's a cabin that you can fit like 16 people in it, and I was going to see how much it would cost and see what I can do with that. So I may pull a rabbit out of my hat, see what I can make that happen, because that would help us a lot. So
Quit that, Dale.
what? Oh,
Oh, Dale over there yawning.
Yeah, we got it lucky here. Barry's at 11 o'clock where he's at. Something like that, anyway.
Yeah, it's about 12 after, I think.
We've went
I was
over
gonna ask-
our-
Y'all got any?
Go ahead, Barry.
I was going to ask if y'all had any thoughts on the whole dog Sasquatch rivalry or whatever. Is it just a territorial thing? Is it a instinct or something in their genetic memory or something? They don't. Maybe Sasquatch once competed with wolves for territory or something. I don't know.
What's your opinion of that?
I don't know. I kind of think it's more like the dogs just give them away.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like a thief trying to break into your house. You're like I am. You got 4 dogs. Dogs gonna let you know before they hit the front door.
Hmm.
I see it.
I just
more
thought
as,
about that one day.
the superior predator, and if you got a territory and you claim it, then the other ones are encroaching on it, and they're a predator too. It's just a conflict from the get-go. So I think it's just when their territories brush into each other, or if they cross one another's territory for some reason, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
That was just
Well,
another one of them stray thoughts I had about the ancestral memory or whatever, 500 years ago, maybe them and wolves run into one another. Well, dogs came from wolves, so. But you're probably right. I was probably just overthinking it.
Well, you also get into the deal like with us, just the Hatfields and McCoys. Even if they're from the same species and just happen to look different, I don't want you around here. You know what I'm saying? They had bad blood from then. They remember something that they attacked way back in their history, and it's just followed on.
Yeah,
My thoughts on it.
kind of where I'm 1/8 Apache. We didn't get along with anybody, so.
Well, like Thomas was saying, when we were up there at Sillamore, and when you left to go get Clint, I'm sitting in the campsite all by myself, Man, I tell you, and Sable was very aware that the boxer that was up here, the black one, she was very, very aware of something out around me, and she'd go to one side and growl, and then run to the other side and growl, and then run behind me and growl, and I'm like, man, these things are all over me, you know. But I couldn't hear them, but boy, she knew they was there. She knew it, and she finally
Well,
just
that's like
come and sit between my legs. I say, "Don't give up now, dog." You know.
well, that's like that following morning up there at Silmore. You know, Marcus got out of the truck, asked us who threw something in the back of his truck. Nobody threw anything in the back of his truck.
Yeah.
So he got to do the wild ride that night. We were sound asleep, and all of a sudden, something goes in the back of our truck.
Well, you know, part of that video that I recorded sounded like something was going through the back of your truck, checking out everything in it. And we were 20 feet from it, you know?
Yeah.
And they was clunking and banging and carrying on in the back of your truck. I was like, golly, I can't believe we didn't hear that.
That's the same area that when we first went there, me and Marcus, turkey hunting. It was the springtime, and we got down in there, and it was getting dusty dark, and the woods come alive. I mean, it was just and just everywhere around us. And that's just that spring was the first time I'd got into Bigfooting, really. You know, I've had my encounters, but I didn't know what it was. But I called my buddy Tony Mannix, and I said, listen to this. This sounds like monkeys grunting up in the trees and stuff. And he said, hold the phone up. And he was amazed. He said, get out of there right now. And we got out of there, and I hadn't told nobody else but him till I took y'all up there, and I was like, well, it definitely proved out what it was.
Boy, I tell you what, that's the location of some of the biggest tracks I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Man, they make red tracks look small.
How big were they?
Oh, gosh. My boots are 13 inches long, and they're almost twice as long as my boot.
Oh man, that's a
And
huge
that's
one.
the biggest track. You could see where this thing had stepped on fallen trees out in the woods, and it didn't step over them. It stepped on them and just crushed them into the ground.
Yeah. Broke
So you're talking about down there by the cross.
I don't know. We was up on the river that day. We tracked them.
Yeah, we was on the left branch of the river that went up to the left, not the one we drove up, but the other one that we hadn't been up. I mean, we went up there on foot so far, but I'd like to go on up that and see what's up there, what kind of signs is on up there. But yeah, them tracks. My shoe's 13 inches wide, and at the ball of the where the toes was, it was as wide as my 13-inch shoe. So it's 13 inches wide across from the little toe to right, behind the big toe.
There was 4 sets of tracks up there that we tracked and lost the tracks on one side of the river, and we crossed the water there and picked up the tracks going up the other side of the bank up into the trees, and there was like 2 sets of 13-inch tracks, and then there was a set of tracks that was about 20 inches or so, and then there was those monster tracks over to the left of that, and I'm like, oh, that's mom, dad, and the kids out for a walk,
Yeah.
Man, that's a big animal.
I never found any that big. I think the biggest one I found was about 17 and a half inches long, but it was 8 inches wide.
That's still a big old boy.
That's big.
And the thing that really made you stop and think, this was on hard, dry ground, and it probably pressed 3/4 of an inch into it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Yep.
I could stand up there and jump up and down and not leave a mark, and I weigh 220.
We saw the
That's
same thing up
sometimes
on
you're
the
sitting there
mountain.
looking at print and you're like, and I'm out there by myself and I'm like, I need my head examined. What am I doing out here? They're not going to find me. I mean, it makes you second think what you're following.
Yep.
Well, I'm trying to find a place to bow hunt a little bit closer to my house than up on the mountain.
I don't blame you.
The last time I was up there, though, you know, I was wearing them yellow shades so I could differentiate the browns and the greens out in the woods. So I had them yellow goggles on. I always wear when I bow hunt, and I was sitting up there just still hunting up there on the second level, and I'm up there, and I'm like, well, I guess nothing's going to come by. So it's up there where we put that bait trap up there.
Oh yeah.
And I said, I guess nothing's going to come by this up here. And so I took those glasses off. And it was right then that I realized that I was coming off the mountain way too late. It was dark. But them yellow shades made everything look lighter. And it was, I had already lost the sun. And I'm up on the second level of the mountain. And I'm like, boy. So I start off the mountain. And over to the east of me, there's this loud whack on the side of a tree. And just directly below me, below the cliffs, whack. I'm like, something just said, where is he? And the other one said, I got him. He's right here, you know. And I'll swear to this day, that's what they were doing. They were tracking me and making sure they knew where I was at certain times, you know. But man, it didn't take me long to get off that mountain. I just kind of jumped and slid on my butt about halfway down it. It scared the crap out of me.
Your place is the same place that we was doing the live broadcast with Barry and had all that activity up on the mountain. We had our lights up there, and they went off, and then nothing happened anymore. And then we had activity right there at your trailer.
I remember that because we sit there for an hour and a half talking, and I'm looking right over your shoulder, and there's somebody peeking around the corner of the trailer.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of your crew. So I sit there for an hour and a half and don't say nothing. And finally somebody in the background's like, hey, there's something back there. I was like, well, yeah, it's been there for an hour and a half.
Yeah, we didn't know it.
You know what was funny is as soon as Barry pointed that out to us, man, the weapons came out. And away we go. And there was some of them went around one side of the house and some of them went around the other side of the house. We was going to try to head whatever it was off. And Clint, he charges around the house in the dark. Well, my big black dog met him on the other side. He let out a war whoop.
That wasn't a good plan.
I swear I've never felt as stupid as I did that night because, like I said, I sat there for an hour and a half and he was doing the classic what everybody talks about, peeking around the tree. I mean, I just keep seeing this figure.
Peeking around the side of my shop.
And I talk in the window and I just sat there. I never mentioned, hey, look behind you.
Yeah,
because I thought it was somebody. And then when everything broke loose there, I was like, well, good Lord, they could have all got mauled. I would have sat here and watched it in real time, never said a word.
That's what's funny. We had people watching the mountain because we had our motion lights and everything up there. They went off once. So everybody was watching the mountain. Nobody was watching behind us except Barry.
I guess that's what we learned. Don't put Barry on point or watch out.
Yeah.
We went up there the next day and we found that track line that was coming down the mountain.
Yeah.
And it was like 6.5 feet between steps.
Yeah.
So this thing was either running or it was taking great big strides. But it came right down the mountain. I guess we run electric wire. I run 250 feet of 12-2 up there, and then we had about 4 big old long extensions plugged in to get the electricity up on the mountain. And whatever it was, I guess, followed that electric line down. It's like, what's going on here, And it followed it
Yeah.
right around the edge of the shop, and there's Barry looking at it. And that was an exciting night. Nobody slept outside in the tents or anything.
No. Now we all ended up sleeping in the trailer.
Yep, we was all inside.
I guess that night I was the guy I'm always joking about that Bigfoot could walk up and ask him for a cup of sugar and he still wouldn't believe in him. Well, he was sitting there peeking around the corner at me, and I just sat there.
Well,
The bad part about that wasn't but about 30 feet from us.
yeah.
It was right there behind us, if that far.
Well, whatever that was a lighter color because it looked white or gray to me. I thought it was somebody in a T-shirt. It just never clicked in my head. Hey, that may not be right.
Yeah. I don't know how tall
Sounds
is
like
that
an
building
elder.
there? Dale, how tall is your shed? How
Huh?
tall is your shed there that was behind us there? Because
No, that
it
Eva
was right
shed,
up at the corner.
got Eva, that shed is about 7 foot.
Yeah.
Right
It didn't
there.
like much, but it kind of looked like it was crouching down too when it was
Yeah.
leaning out. I'll never forget that.
That was wild watching the replay of it. Like, there it is. Like, whoa.
Well, I ended up. Well, we don't have the doors on our new building. I rigged up some lights, put inside motion detectors. Those things are sensitive. But heck, I told Heather, I said, next time we go out and I take the generator on the investigation, I'm going to take those lights and set up. Just hook them to the generator facing the outhouse. That way somebody heads over there, the light will kick on. Give them some light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Take the other one face back on the other side of my freaking truck.
I got that new camera, and I was having trouble with the directions because it was so small. And I'm like, well, I put on 2 sets of glasses the other day, and I had one of them great old big round magnifying glasses with a handle on it. And then I got this thing that old women wear that hangs on their neck. It's a big old magnifying glass there, and I got all that stuff. And I was like, by golly, I'm going to read these directions down and figure out how to set this thing up. Come find out when I blowed it up so I could read it, it wasn't even the right camera. And I'm like, oh, man. What a rip. So
Yeah, I got one of those.
I'm just experimenting with it right now.
I
Well,
got another
that
question.
So what?
I got a question. Is there a quicker way to listen to audio recordings, like long-term 24-hour recordings off of a recorder, other than sitting there listening to the entire thing?
I hadn't figured
Let
out
your
that.
mom listen. Hey, Mom.
I was just wondering because, the crickets and tree frogs and stuff, it makes great to fall asleep to. But I've got probably, God only knows how many hundreds of hours of audio. I'd have to take a 3-month vacation to listen to it all.
The best way that I've talked to anybody, and I've been wanting to talk to Hardcore about it, but hadn't yet, I was going to wait till we get up, is to post it on our deal and let the viewers listen to it. And when they hear something, say down at the bottom, listen at certain minute. I got to talking to another researcher, and that's what they do. And it gets everybody involved. A lot of people's got time, ain't got nothing to do sitting at the house. So that's something I've been thinking about we need to do. And maybe once a month post one, or once a week, every how many we get, and let the viewers go through it.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Well, when I was going through those recordings that I made up there, I fast forwarded them things on my software, and I
Yeah.
was watching the what you call it, the audibles on the screen.
Oh yeah. The
Whenever I'd see
frequency
something
deal.
go whoop, when the frequency jump up where there was a noise, I'd back up and listen to that, and then I'd go through, and then of course you'd have the little straight line with a little ambient noise in the background, and then there every once in a while, there'd be a jump, and I was like, what was that, and that sped that up a whole lot for me.
Yeah, watch for the heartbeat. You'll have
Mhm.
one that jump up, and then every now and then one that drop down real low.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And back it up and listen. That lowest one you usually have problems hearing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was
There.
doing. And then I was going back and cutting them sections out, and then blowing the audio up like 500%, so I could make sure what was in that audio, and listen to it, and that sped me up a whole lot. It's still time consuming as it could be, though.
I do
Well,
what I
worked
do.
at-
Kick it
it's
on
time-
and listen to it.
Huh?
During the day, if you're not doing nothing, kick that audio on and be doing some kind of work.
Right.
My dogs will sit there and listen, man, when all of them just kind of perk up. Okay, go back it up. There's something there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We've done
No.
went over an hour and a half here. We're fixing in a little while. We'll have to start paying.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut it off now. We can just go around the room here. Start with Dale, and then just say our closing. What is that final comment, Dale?
No, I've just really enjoyed talking to y'all tonight, and I'm glad that I finally got on here with a decent connection where I didn't
Yeah.
blink on and off. I've had my time with this trying to get on here, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate all of y'all that took the time to do this.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been a battle. The same way with Neil. You got anything to say, Neil?
Yeah, again, thank y'all for the prayers. Really needed them. Also, too, this December, I'm going to start a project in honor of my son, Nicholas. I'm going to call it Nick's Project. I'll get more with you more on that, Wendell, in the future. Before you come and stuff like that. Sorry that I ain't been able to get on before now, but it's been a long road. I've been battling some stuff that it's been rough. I ain't gonna lie. It's definitely a life-changing experience what I've been through the last year and a half. So, but again, thank y'all again for all the prayers. That y'all don't know how much that means to me and my family. It
Awesome.
means a lot. Thank y'all.
We'll continue praying for you, and it's good to have my official co-host Neil here, hardcore. It's been a battle to get him on there. All right, BC, you got anything you want to say?
Just always a pleasure, and look forward to meeting you guys November the 6th. Those of you that can make it down here to Ball Knob. So, until then, we'll probably have another podcast between then and now. You think?
Yeah, it'll probably be before the 23rd because we got our haunted house and everything on the weekend.
Right.
It'll probably be the Sunday before the 23rd. I don't know what that'll be, but that's what we'll look at.
Okay, doke.
All right, Barry, it's your turn.
Like everybody else said, it's been great to see y'all. Some of you I've met before, a couple I haven't. God bless y'all. Just keep praying for Mom. She's got a follow up with her doctor Tuesday, and she does not want to go see a specialist. So we're hoping, praying there won't be no reason to go see a specialist. Pray for me just to keep my sanity. I've been holding it together, but there's days that test my Jesus levels.
Amen. All right, your turn, Thomas.
That's good seeing you guys again. I'm sorry I came in late. I mean, I think that last internet shutdown, blackout, kind of messed some of my equipment up. So I'm going to be up late tonight figuring things out here. But yeah, I'm going to be over there at that Ball Knob
Awesome.
area.
Good
So
deal.
Yeah, I got a nice
I'm
warm
gonna-
place I can run off the guy too.
Was that hard?
Before you guys go to Bald Knob, hey, before you guys go to Bald Knob, get in touch with me, and I'll send you guys with some night vision and that thermal.
All right. Sounds good.
Well, it'd be nice to have more. Yeah, it'd be nice to have more thermal than what we've been using. Just that one for my
Yeah.
camera. Well,
Yeah, are you
my
going to that?
phone, so-
You said you're going to Bald Knob, Thomas?
Yeah,
You said you're going to Bald Knob? Okay, well, I'll probably do just meet up
Yeah.
with you and send you with that equipment then.
Okay.
Perfect.
yeah. I'm planning on going to Bald Knob. I'll probably be over there around that time anyway because my brother said something about coming in the 1st of November, right in there for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So when he's here, I'm
Sounds
there.
perfect. Make it happen. I understand. No problem with that. Perfect.
So
All
if
right,
he's here
guys.
when Bald Knob takes place, there'll be a second guy look like me, just a little bit shorter.
Awesome.
Oh no.
All right.
Yeah. And he's a retired Air Force First Sergeant, Dale.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's good being
So-
here with all y'all guys, and like I said, we'll do it again next month, and just keep
Sir.
seeking answers, and we'll all get back together and see what we find over this month, and any new encounters, and we'll go from there. Thank y'all for being here. God bless everyone.
All right, y'all take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Y'all take care. Have a good
Y'all
night.
guys have a good night.
Y'all have a
See
good
y'all
one.
next month. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You too.
Okay. Bye.